AITAH for telling my pregnant sister to lower her expectations for me as an uncle. My sister is pregnant with her first child and is very excited about it. I'm happy for her because she really wants to be a mom. I have never particularly liked kids. I always said I never wanted kids of my own even when I was young. Things changed somewhat and I have a stepson that I adore, but other than him I still do not like kids. For some reason people around me interpret my relationship with my stepson as me having softened my dislike of children when I am very clear this is not the case. I am also very introverted and do not do much as far as being around people that is more than the bare minimum to keep those around me happy. I am much happier home either alone or with my girlfriend and stepson just hanging out than with the rest of my family or with friends. My sister today was excited about her pregnancy and I was indulging her to be nice. She started going off on all the fun things I can do as an uncle with her yet-to-be-born child and at first I just let it go. I didn't play along or say no, I just let her talk. She wouldn't stop and eventually it just got to be too much and I told her she needed to cool it. She asked what I meant and I said her and I have a different view of my role as an uncle. She asked what I meant and I said I would see her kid on birthdays, holidays, and family events, but I didn't see myself doing all the things she was naming off. She got very upset and said how could I say that about my soon-to-be first niece/nephew. I reminded her I am not the biggest fan of children and didn't see myself having a particularly close relationship with her child. She mentioned what a good dad I am to my stepson and I said that's different, that's my son, I'm not her kid's father and I don't have to be involved with her kid if I don't want to be. We also have another brother and we both know he will be wanting to do as much with her kid as possible, so I said it's not like the kid needs me. My parents then got the hint her and I were in a disagreement and came over to see what was going on. Both my parents are on her side and think I should be a better uncle and also should not have said something to upset my pregnant sister. Edit. I talked with my brother about it. He basically said based off of everything I've said my entire life he doesn't understand why my sister would have ever had these expectations to begin with. He's not on anyone's side. He said he gets why she wants more from me but also thinks that she should have expected this. Update. Same post, my sister just called me. She spoke with both my brother and her husband last night after the fact, and they told her that there was nothing in our relationship the past 20+ years that should have led her to conclude my attitude towards her child being anything other than what I told her. She apologized if she made me feel like I was being pushed into a relationship with her child that I did not want. I apologized for the time and manner in which I said what I said and that I could have handled it better. I also apologized for not being the kind of person she is hoping for as the uncle of her child. We both accepted each other's apologies, and we're good now. Top comment, wait a minute. You have a family of your own. Does she spend time doing things with and for your stepson? This isn't how this works. You do it for your kids. Your sister does for hers. I am one of 6. I can't even imagine how that would work. OP, she does things with my stepson every couple months. This year, she took him to a water park for his birthday and had him come over to her house to ride jet skis and go fishing once. She probably did 1 or 2 other things with him as well that I'm not remembering off the top of my head. Comment, YTA, massively. At the risk of being downvoted by those who have blended families. I'm going to tell it as it is. The kid is not your stepson. His mother isn't your wife, or even fiancée. She's your girlfriend. Who you haven't even committed to, and have now given this poor kid false expectations. If your girlfriend were to sadly pass away, you have 0 rights whatsoever. You haven't even given him security by making your relationship with his mother legally binding, you expect to be seen as this kid's stepdad, put a ring on it. Your family had 0 obligation to this kid, except for being polite to him. Yet, they have treated him as part of the family, which could easily be ripped away if you get bored of your girlfriend. Your sister has treated him like a nephew and has given him love and care. Your sister has treated a kid with 0 genetic links to her, nor even any legal familial links, with love and inclusion. Yet, you are a raging hypocrite. You have foisted a child with no genetic links to your family on them and expected him to be treated as family, yet you refuse to give the same consideration and love back to this child your sister is pregnant with, a child who shares a large chunk of DNA with you. How do you think they will feel growing up, knowing their own uncle treats them with revulsion yet gives an abundance of love to a child without his DNA? You say you are child-free, which I can understand many people not liking being around kids. But, if you were so vehemently anti-child, why would you have even considered dating a woman who has a child? You are a raging hypocrite, and this undoubtedly is going to cause a lot of hurt for your sister and family. If being anti-child is your sword, you live by your sword, you die by your sword. You cannot cherry-pick to the point that you have confused your sister, because life doesn't work like that. Of course she is going to think you are no longer anti-child if she sees you take on another man's child and treat the kid lovingly. You also chose to rain on her parade in the process. You owe your sister an apology, your girlfriend a marriage, and all kids involved, born and yet to be born, the love and respect that children deserve to grow and thrive. Don't make life harder for your self-proclaimed stepson by causing the person he sees as an aunt withdraw from him, as a response to you effectively disowning your future niece-nephew. And don't ruin what could be a beautiful friendship between two cousin figures. If you love your stepson, then surely you want to give him familial security by virtue of your girlfriend being a single mother at the time of meeting her. I can only assume that this kid has been through a lot previously which has caused him to not have a traditional nuclear family. Let this kid have familial security, in more ways than just one. Reply from OP, downvoted my girlfriend and I both don't believe in marriage. She would say no if I proposed and would quite frankly be confused because it would go against every conversation we've had for the past 7 years. Update. The update with my sister was accurate but my parents were not leaving it alone. They still wanted me to be involved with my sister and her kid more and would not drop it. So I called a meeting with my family today. When I say my family I mean my siblings, brother-in-law, and parents, not my girlfriend and stepson. Prior to this meeting I had a discussion with my girlfriend last night and she agreed it was okay for me to tell them the parts regarding her personally, and our son I am about to describe even if she didn't agree with some of the reasons for it. I explained to them again my aversion to kids and not liking being around them. They of course questioned why I have a stepson then. I explained to them a whole bunch of background about meeting his mom and later him and how it came to be where I love him like my own, despite me not liking other kids, still that they had never heard before. They asked if the same could happen with my sister's child and I said never say never, but it is very unlikely. I also explained to them that I am not a social person in general and do not do things socially often. I told them about the fact that I even only see the people I consider my best friends 2 to 3 times a year because that's all the energy I can muster to be social. I explained that being social and seeing people socially is like work to me and it is mentally and emotionally exhausting and I don't like doing it, but I do it from time to time because I know others want it from me. They didn't understand why someone can feel like social interaction is work and that I should just grow up and be with people, because it's unnatural to only want to spend time with my GF and stepson and otherwise be a hermit. I said their opinion is fine but does not change anything. I apologized that who I am upsets them and that if it hurts them that I am this way. We then moved on to talk about our individual relationships. I told my parents I have not forgiven them for making me raise my brother and sister when I was just a kid myself and that I almost certainly never will. I also told my sister I have an issue with her defending them for this. I understand they did their best and that they were gone, because they were trying to make ends meet, but if they couldn't afford kids without always working and not being present, they shouldn't have had kids. They all pointed out that would mean my siblings and I likely wouldn't be alive, and I said I understand that, but to it still stands in my opinion. There was a lot of fighting over this that I won't go into detail on. My brother didn't really say much during this, but my brother-in-law actually said when it came to my parents, he may not agree with not forgiving them, but he understands why I feel the way I do. I told my brother and brother-in-law that on a personal level, I have zero issues with either of them and that if I had a normal social drive, perhaps we could have a closer relationship. I then reiterated that I am there for all of them if they ever needed me for something, before I moved on to the thing that I really wanted to say to them. Some people pointed out that not being as involved with my sister's kid as she is with mine, is not fair, so I thought about it and those people may be right. So I told them all that we have 2 options moving forward. One, we can have a limited relationship where they see me, my GF, and stepson on birthdays, holidays, and special occasions. I will not do other hangouts and things with them or the future child, they will not do special things with me and my family. We see each other at these things and in emergencies only. I told them when my stepson is older and old enough to make his own decisions, if he wants a further relationship with them, I would not stop him from pursuing it and I would not poison the well. 2. We have no relationship at all moving forward and we completely remove each other from each other's lives. I told them that the decision as to which option they want is up to them and can be taken on an individual basis and is of course open to future changes should all of us want them, and that they did not have to have an answer for me right away if they did not want to. Again, my parents and sister were upset. I gave them an ultimatum and said it was completely unfair. My brother and brother-in-law were both silent. I left and then got a call from my brother shortly thereafter. He said he accepts what I had to say even if he doesn't quite understand my antisocial behaviors, and wants option 1 even if the others didn't. I told him I was happy he chose option 1, because if I got to choose any of them to interact with still, he would be my choice, and that we'd be in touch.